Good evening, and welcome to the Watchmen's Report. I'm Cody Higley, and tonight, as usual, we're joined by Jason Foreman, and we have a very special guest for tonight's show. It's Lizzy Mazer of Pure H2O of Ohio, and you've probably seen her company on Marion Watch and on various social media being shared because her company has graciously offered to do um, in house water tests as the city of Marion goes through this water contamination crisis, which we hope is uh, abating, but we just don't know. And we thought that it would be useful to the viewers out there, to the people of Marion and people who have their water, get their water from Aqua, Ohio, or really anywhere. Because if there's one element that is key to life, it's water. And you want to have good, potable drinking water. And Pure H2O of Ohio, that's their business. So we wanted to bring her on here and ask her more about her business, her opinions on this particular crisis in the city of Marion, and learn a little bit more about what you can do to better prepare for the future. So, Lizzy, welcome to the Watchman's Report.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Cody and Jason.
We're very glad that you decided to join us. So, tell the folks out there a little bit more about your company. So, Pure H2O of Ohio. How long have you been in business?
We've been in business since 1999. My father started it, and I worked with the business as a kid growing up, and then I sort of did my own thing for a while, and I've come back to the business in the last 2 years as an owner, and I'm really excited about it because we can help people get clean water in their home, and it makes me feel good about it. It makes me feel good that we can come out and test people's water, let them know what's going on, and then give them a certified treatment solution that will take out all their contaminants and worries.
So, has there been more interest? So, if you guys have been around since the 90s,
Hmm.
have you seen the interest in water purification or complaints by people about their water quality? Have you seen that increase over time, or is it about the same over the past 25 years? What are you seeing as far as trends go?
Oh yeah, people didn't, 25 years ago, I don't think people really, they thought their tap was pretty good water. And water quality over time, and even in the past 2 decades, has gotten worse. It's the same water that we're drinking since the dinosaurs, So I think with lead in the pipes, that started to be a big thing, like in the early 2000s, and then now again with the PFAS, and just people are really noticing more and more. I think there's a lot more concern with the data centers and the runoff, and people are just becoming more educated about it, and are curious about what's really coming out of their tap, and if they should treat it, or if it may not harm them right away when they're drinking it, but it could do some effects long term. You just never know. So it's good to kind of have an idea of what's happening with your water chemistry at the tap in your home.
Yeah, that
So yes, it's
seems
definitely increased. Yeah.
it's increased. Well, yeah, you
Yeah.
think about it. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but by the gray in my hair and Jason's hair, we've been around a little bit, and I don't really think that bottled water was a thing. When we were kids, uh, was it a thing, really, Jason? I mean, do you remember that much? I mean,
I
really,
mean,
you just went to the tap and got
right.
your water. I don't think that you really bought bottled water. Now, they had Culligan up here and Peacock water, and some people had the tanks or whatever that they would put like the water cooler type things. But um, I don't really remember a big thing with bottled water back then. Do
No,
you?
me neither. I mean, I grew up in the performing arts, and we were constantly just drinking from water fountains at like the Ohio State Fairgrounds and hoses and whatnot. No, I don't remember bottled water really becoming a thing until well after I was probably after I graduated high school. I graduated in 98, so that's about the right time, 98, 99, 2000, when everybody started getting a little bit more concerned.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it's not only kind of like you indicated, Lizzie, um, when we were talking before the show. What is the best way to treat your water? I mean, you let's say you live in the city of Marion. Let's say Aqua, Ohio, which supplies it, does a good job purifying the water at their facility, which is a couple miles, maybe a mile, whatever the distance is west of the city of Marion. But then it's traveling. It's
Yep.
traveling through those old, we're talking 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old lead pipes until it gets to your home. So realistically, how much contamination is this water picking up as it makes its way from the treatment facility to a household 1, 2, 3, 5 miles away, going through a infrastructure that is that old and that is largely lead?
Yeah. Um, well, it's going to pick up quite a few contaminants on the way. Of course, every pipe is different. But yes, I don't know if you've seen the inside of some pipes that had hard water. Um, they can just get full of all types of things. The plastics can get stuck to the insides of the piping as well. Um, if a pipe breaks, you can get other types of contaminants in that. So there's a lot it can pick up along the way, including lead, so PFAS. So yeah, you have to be very mindful of all that, what it's traveling and bringing with it into your home. And those pipes sometimes get clean, like sometimes they'll blast them with chlorine, but then you have to worry about that large amount of chlorine coming out of your tap. And that's why, sometimes it's good to run your tap a little bit to get that flushed. Same with the PFAS or anything. If you run it a little bit, it'll help get the water flowing, and then you can get a little bit cleaner glass of water. So yes, it's the pipes are old and dirty, and you can pick up all types of things, all types of
Yeah,
contaminants. Yeah.
you talk about, and we did a show, Jason and I did a show. When was that? Last Thursday, Jay, I think it was.
Yeah, I think
So,
so. Yeah, pop-up
yeah,
show.
so
Yep.
we'll just kind of briefly summarize for folks. If you didn't see that show, then go back in the archives and check it out, because we kind of talked about this whole contamination crisis, but kind of came to light on December 14th, and people were complaining about discoloration in their water in the city of Marion, also a smell, mustiness, what have you. Then the uh, city, and I can attest at that time, so before the complaints of like overwhelming chlorine and stuff, it had a real funky flavor if you ate food that was prepared with that water in the city of Marion. And we had all kind of people around the city that were complaining, taking photos of their tap water side by side with uh, bottled water or purified water. Um, they were running home tests, and that sort of thing, and posting the results and a side-by-side comparison. So it was definitely an issue. Then Aqua Ohio provided a statement saying that it was a result of geosmin being in the water, which is a naturally occurring organic compound, basically harmless. It does give off a earthy or musty odor, and when you look into descriptions of geosmin, uh, basically think about after a spring rain and you go out into the field and you're smelling geosmin in the ground. Um, well, then it switched to a very, very heavy chlorine smell. And people were complaining that it was, if they get in the shower, it would cause skin irritation, burn their skin, their eyes, that sort of thing. Um, People were putting glasses and showing sediment settling at the bottom of the glass. All kind of their houses smelling like pool halls, very strong smell of chlorine. Well, when you research and you look into water treatment, and Lizzy, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you want to elaborate on this when I'm through. Geosmin is something that they treat with a carbon base treatment to remove, not with a chlorine based treatment. So if that was what the contamination was, then why would you have that strong, overpowering stench of chlorine? Does that make sense to you?
Maybe at the time they didn't realize it was a geostem and they just pumped it with chlorine to take care of anything that they thought, just to kill anything that it could be. And they also don't have carbon filtration at the plant.
Yeah. And the other question with that is, if it was doused that heavily with a chlorine based treatment, and you have these pipes, lead pipes, in most sections of the city, you're supposed to use corrosion inhibitors, correct? I mean, is that your understanding? In order to prevent that chlorine or that chemical that you're releasing through the system from corroding the interior of that pipe and leaching out harmful lead compounds, which, as we know, is what happened during the Flint water crisis. So Flint switched to the Flint River to get its water before they were receiving it by pipeline from the city of Detroit. So they do that in 2014. There's 16 million gallons of raw sewage that is accidentally dumped in the Flint River. They have fecal matter and sewage that goes through the system, and they douse it with a chlorine-based treatment. Corrodes. They did not use corrosion inhibitors, corrodes the lines, and then you're dealing with lead in the system, causes all kind of lead poisoning and other negative health effects, and becomes the national headlines. So now, Jay, you sent a request for a statement to Aqua, and you asked them specifically about corrosion inhibitors and whether or not they were used. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And they said no, right?
They said no. That's correct. I sent Lizzy the emails to and from both city officials and Aqua.
Is that something that people should be concerned about, Lizzy, in your opinion?
Well, it's hard to say. I think some of the discoloration and things like that could have happened from when the water was really acidic, with a high amount of chlorine, and it stripped it. But any any chemical change in the water is going to disturb the pipe scale, and it could increase metals in the water. So, but as far as I know, when you treat the water with chlorine, you need to adjust the pH, and that's the helpful corrosion inhibitor. So, I think what they're saying is they didn't need to change the pH because it was, at, I think it was in the 8 range. And, but that to me seems a little bit odd because usually you do need to change it to make sure the chlorine is effective.
So maybe
Yeah.
it might be a concern, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it is a concern. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, anything that's going to change the structure of your pipes and corrode any metals into your water, you do not want, especially if it's lead. But yeah, so that's definitely when the pH balance changes and the chlorine changes, it's going to change what's happening inside your pipes. It's going to release things in the pipes that weren't there, and that's all going to come into your water, into your tap.
Yeah, and your company, like we said at the beginning of the show, you generously offered to do in-house tests of water in the city of Marion.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been doing quite a bit of those? What's been the
Yes, we have. And I actually sent you guys a report of kind of our findings. Did you get it?
Yeah,
Can you-
I got it. I've got it up. Give me just a sec here.
Okay, cool. Um,
And it's
we
just a preliminary report because you said earlier when we were chatting that you're waiting on the results, the more extensive
yes, we're gonna
analysis, right?
from Resin Tech, yeah, because
Okay.
that's where we're gonna find all the PFAS and different things like that.
Now, PFAS, uh, go ahead and bring up that link, Jay, just so people can, if you can. I think it was one of the last ones that I sent you. People probably heard quite a bit about PFAS, and basically they're forever chemicals. So they are a result of the manufacture of a number of items, pesticides, varnishes, uh, mainly kind of in our minds like Teflon, coatings, sealants, that sort of thing. Is that right, Lizzy? Am I saying
Yeah.
that correctly?
Just
And
basically micro and nanoplastics.
and they never
They never
degrade.
break down.
Well, for the city of Marion, you would think that our waterways are getting regular contamination from PFAS in the form of herbicides and pesticide runoff from our agricultural fields um, throughout the entire area. And then we mentioned this on the video last Thursday. I'm going to probably be writing about this particular topic because it's actually a little bit more in depth and interesting. I think something that people probably have no idea about, or very few people probably do. But the EPA's site of note, highly contaminated site located at the intersection of 309, which is Kenton Avenue, northwest corner of 309, and Holland Road in the city of Marion. The old Baker Wood Preserving Company or creosoting facility. And that site, that 26-acre site there, which is currently vacant, highly, highly contaminated with PFAS. So these forever chemicals, and it was all creosote oil, tar, resin, variety of chemicals that they used. They would actually bathe them in this 140-foot steel tube, and they would jam, I think, 800 railroad ties at a time, untreated railroad ties, in that tube, seal it up, heat it up, pressurize it, and fill it up with 20,000 gallons of creosote oil, and let that creosote oil soak in to the core of that railroad tie. And they had to air cure them for a year. So half of that 26-acre lot was a yard where they were storing all these uh, railroad ties that they were curing for a period of a year. And you got to think all that oil that they were using. Well, we know what they were doing with it. They were dumping it into the Little Scioto River. So
Yeah.
bad up till the 1950s.
I don't know what they were thinking. Like, where was it going to go?
It's going to go downstream. It's going to go,
Like,
yeah, for Delaware or wherever, But it basically,
not our problem. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, it killed off pretty much all life forms in the Little Scioto in the 1950s. I mean, that's how bad it was. In the 40s, there were farmers in the area that were complaining about their livestock dying from the pollution. I mean, they put two and two together. So it must have been really bad, even, at the time.
Yeah.
And then finally, they go out of business in the 1960s. And then in the 1990s, the EPA state comes in and starts doing studies at that site and also on the Little Scioto. They do cleanup the best they can, but it's still highly contaminated. I mean, there's really not much that you can do.
Do you know what they're doing to how the cleanup looks like?
They went through and removed layers, I think, as much of the soil, the contaminated soil. In the reports, they say that even vegetation wasn't growing in certain sections of the site. That's how contaminated. You think a weed can grow anywhere, but there were certain sections that there was almost an absence of vegetation, at least when they did the report. And then they put water monitoring stations, well water, I think, in the ground to check out the groundwater contamination at certain locations between that site and then the Little Scioto. But they're doing a lot of work to try to clean up the Little Scioto, like a section of, I think it's 7 miles between the wastewater treatment plant and then proceeding 7 miles to the south. And that project, I think, started in like 2022 and is supposed to be completed in 2028.
70 years later.
Right. But even
already like into the core of our earth.
Yeah, exactly. And the last statement that I heard last night from an official, is that the PFAS results at the intersection of the Little Scioto River and State Route 95 were through the roof. So, we live in a highly contaminated environment, do we not, Lizzy? I mean,
I know it's terrible. It's very contaminated. Yeah.
So what do you recommend typically? So knowing that all of these Midwestern towns are, in general, they're kind of the same infrastructure. I mean, obviously Delaware and Columbus and some of the newer sprawl, they're going to have at least additions that are built using newer components, probably updated standards and that sort of thing. But when you're talking about a city like Marion which was largely constructed. Its heyday was the first couple decades of the prior century, but there's many other towns and cities in the state of Ohio and the Midwest that are the same story. So, what do people do? So, it probably starts by contacting a company like yours, having them come in and do a test and analysis of their water, of their home, and then what typically, I guess, is done.
So we'll test the water at your kitchen sink. We test for hardness, chlorine, total dissolved solids, and pH. We are expanding our lead testing, which I told you about because of the demand. And we're going to start testing for arsenic and nitrates in the coming year. But the best thing that you can do is take care of point of entry treatment. So that's any water that's coming into your home. You don't want any contaminants in your home. You don't want any hardness. It'll mess up with your plumbing and your appliances. It'll clog your, have you ever felt like the scum on the edge of your faucets? Have you ever felt that, like that white, and it kind of feels thick? Like that
Yeah.
is what's getting stuck all inside your pipes. So your appliances won't last as long. And then chlorine is used to, they put chlorine in the water to treat any contaminants and different things like that. But what we'll install is a carbon filtration system. We have a really nice carbon system. It's certified. And it basically will take out lead, VOCs, and PFAS. So like the larger carbon area you have, the more contaminants that can come out. So like a small carbon filter for a Brita, like carbon will take out lead and some of your PFAS and stuff like that, but the surface area isn't as large. So it's not going to take out everything. You're still going to get stuff that comes through. So what we do is point of entry treatment with the carbon. So any water that comes in your home will be treated with the carbon. We also take out any of the minerals, calcium, things like that. So taking out the hardness from the water. And then I recommend a reverse osmosis drinking system. And this kind of thing, like I can tell you what we offer, but basically this is a good blueprint for city water. RO drinking water is going to take out 99% of the contaminants. It's because of the membrane that's in the RO. The micron size is so small, it's 1 micron. So more and more PFAS are being discovered. PFAS are actually one of the like very, very small. Some can even be 0.5 micron. But like more and more are coming out. So the majority of any contaminants is going to get taken out with that RO system. And that's point of use drinking system in your home. Your RO is going to work better if you take out the chlorine and the VOCs and then the hardness, which is essentially rock. And then your RO can work even stronger. And then we also have a certified PFAS filtration unit, which is really nice. It's kind of like an inline filter that part of that system, so you can have extra PFAS removal certification. What's nice about that filter is that it is certified. A lot of these newer things aren't certified quite yet. And what the certification process means is that they just dump the dirtiest water you can imagine through these filters like crazy and then test them. So they can endure quite a bit. But that's just what I recommend to people. Like, make sure when you're looking for treatment that you check that it's certified treatment, and you need to check the NSF ANSI website for those certifications. Because if you buy things on Amazon and different things, they'll say that they're certified, but they aren't actually. So I recommend people going to do that. Point of entry is an investment, but it's really good for your home. It takes care of your home, and in the end, you're going to end up using less soaps, less water, different things. You're actually going to save money when you have purified water in the long run. You don't really need to use like any soaps or anything like that, because you're using really clean water. So the whole process basically in water treatment is to take everything away but H2O, that final element, right? And so this is how we do it. We strip all these contaminants off until that you're getting the purest H2O. If you want to add something back into your water, like people say they want to put like some minerals back in, go for it. But this is the way to get pure water in your home.
Yeah, and really, I mean, when you look at some of the health risks for PFAS and some of these other contaminants, uh, even if it's not something that's going to cause obvious, immediate symptoms like gastrointestinal issues or something like that. I mean, we're talking about long-term risks. This is stuff that is bioaccumulated. So there's certain compounds that they won't kill you if you
Yeah.
consume them
Yeah.
right away.
Right.
You won't even know
You
right
won't know
away.
that the water is what caused it.
Yeah, it's just going to bioaccumulate until the
Yeah.
point that it causes cancer, it causes thyroid issues, it causes heart disease or AIDS and heart disease, um, a lot of serious health risks. And then developmentally, you talk about if you have children, there can be any number of cognitive disorders and uh, that sort of thing that's caused by these chemicals. So I think it's something that the public needs to be more aware of and look at it as a uh, kind of a life insurance, type thing where, you
Yeah.
know, it's
You can
probably
feel
something.
safe, yeah, with your water in your home. Um, I also wanted to note that, when the city says they're going to spend money, on changing lead lines and things like that, like, they might change the city lines, but you didn't have to worry as a homeowner about your residential lines. And so the main way to have clean water is that point of entry. So if Marion City gets that, grant, maybe instead of trying to do it at the water treatment site, they could do it at point of entry in everybody's home. And that's what happened in Flint, Michigan, actually. Everybody got, reverse osmosis drinking systems. That's the safest way. That is the way. So, and there's all types of reverse osmosis systems out there. Like there's ones that you can get countertops. There's, and I think sometimes what happens in this world, there's so much that people get lost. You're like, I don't know. And you go down these rabbit holes of different things. So that's why I just always say, try to go with the certifications, mainly because there have been articles where they tested those filters that they're like, these are the same filters on Amazon that, this person sells. They tested 30 filters. I can share the article with you, and all 30 filters leached contaminants. So it is important that they're certified and tested in some of that. But that's the way. And then the thing is, it gets you, if you get a drinking system in your home, it takes you away from having to do the bottled water. Which
Yeah,
is what,
as I just took a drink of bottled water.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about when I go on vacation, I'm such a weirdo now. Like I barely drink any water. And because I'm just like, and what I started doing actually is depending on where I will just get like the gallon of water, because I feel like that's probably best for me than like individual bottles of water. But you're just going to consume plastic. But if you start thinking about the plastic consumption, you're going to see it everywhere. You're going to see it at the bagels you buy at your farmer's market, the food packaging, everything that comes from, your delivery service, the black containers, those are terrible when heated, and all your food comes in those warm.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and we're all guilty. It's just living in this postmodern world where most of our existence is fake. It's just like the food. I say, it's processed food. It's Frankenstein food.
Yeah, it's not. I know I've been looking actually to try to do like the CSA thing. I want to get the farm delivery milk, because if you start looking, all the milk at Kroger, even the organic expensive stuff is cut with something. And I don't want my milk cut with something, and like I think the brand Hartzler, they've been around forever. Giant Eagle sells it, but they're very popular with their eggnog, but they are, glass bottles from the cows, really good solid milk. And that is part of a good movement too, is just to kind of get back to like more organic and trying to, not have synthetic foods and PFAS in our food and who knows what else. But
yeah, no,
the other thing you want to be mindful with chlorine and other things in your water is breathing it in too. So when you bathe in different things, it's especially when the water gets hot and you can inhale some of those contaminants.
Oh yeah, that's not something that most people would even think about.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just wrote that down so I can look at that later. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what if you have a whole house like reverse osmosis water filtration system? Let's say you want to go from the point of entry for the whole house. What sort of maintenance is typically required on an average system, like in a given year? Is that something that the homeowner can do?
Yes. So the homeowner,
herself?
Yes, sorry, Cody. The homeowner, we used to do actually a lot more annual service, and we're happy to do it, service and maintenance. But we have a video on our website that shows you how to change the filters, so we can mail the filters. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on your own with the equipment. If you get the softener, bags of salt need to go in it for the ion exchange. And so that would be something that you need to do like once a year, depending on how much water you use. Your QRS is good for a minute. That carbon media is going to be good for like almost up to 10 years. Now, again, it depends on how much water you're using and different things like that. The reverse osmosis, the 2 outer filters, the carbon and the sediment, they recommend you change those every 12 to 18 months. And then the membrane is about 3 to 5 years. Now, I just was reading a little bit about cleaning membranes where we could maybe reuse them. There's a process to do that. So I'm interested in kind of exploring other ways that my customers, we could just maybe, instead of them having to purchase a new one, I could clean it and get it back to them, something like that. But
what's a unit like that cost? Like,
it depends.
Reverse osmosis.
It really depends. The prices are all over the place. Our price comes with the installation, and it's about $2,000-ish, depending on, that's sort of on the lower end. It depends on like what's going on in the home, and things like that. But what we like to do is we'll go in and test the water and kind of let you know what you need, based on your water quality. Yeah. And those taps, there's separate taps at your sink, so that your water can come out of it, which is really nice. And then we're installing taps now that it'll tell you when your filters need to be changed, which is like something I was like, we desperately need this. So that's helpful. And so the filters, I think, are like $130 for both of them. And then the membrane, maybe a little bit more. I'll have to get you the exact prices for those. But yeah, it's gonna take care of you. It's worth it, and it's not too expensive either, I don't think, in terms of the filter change and things like that. A lot of our equipment has really nice lifetime warranties too. I don't know all the warranties, so I don't want to go into the detail, but like our softener has a lifetime warranty. So if you have a problem with a part or anything, we can take care of it. Oh, the membrane's $181. I just got a message about it. So that's really nice. So our lifetime warranties kind of set us apart a little bit too. So, you know, if something goes down with like the board on the EC5, we can take care of it and different things like that. You still have to pay if we need to come out there for our service and labor and then shipping fees. But yeah, so that's what I recommend. There's a lot of really good. I know Peacock Water, Connecticut products are really great. Shout out to them. Culligan has some really nice products. They have products that are good for. They have all types of products. Homeowners, renters. We're more geared to homeowners, but we are expanding our program to renters. I'm looking into doing the bottle delivery because some of the households that we rented in Marion were requesting that we could try to do something like that. So we at one point we did like ROs that kind of were like at the dispenser, at the cooler dispenser, you know, and so that's what I'm looking at to get back in the field, that we can start doing that. So for if people don't want to use point of entry treatment or aren't ready for it or can't afford it or something like that, we have some other options.
So on the point of entry systems, you're putting it where the water line comes into the house, correct? And then is it then filtered through, and then are you putting additional filters on all the outlets? So like all the faucets and stuff, do they
No,
get their own?
No, because nothing will go into the house that doesn't go through our systems.
Okay.
So
Okay.
once the water comes into the home, before it goes anywhere else, it'll go in the QRS carbon filtration, take out all the chlorine, your VOCs. Because if you leave the chlorine in and it goes through any other, like your softener, your RO, it'll corrode. So it's really important to get the chlorine out first, and then we take out all the hardness and the minerals that could be causing like the scale and buildup in your home and on your appliance and water using fixtures. And then you can add in a PFAS filter, which I recommend. I just did more research about it, so I don't have one in my house currently, but I'm actually going to get one. And then just for extra protection, and then the reverse osmosis drinking system.
That would set you up for the
Some real
purest water imaginable, it sounds like.
for a long time. Yeah, like really good, safe water.
Well, again, I mean, it's something that I think that people should definitely consider. Because I don't know about you. I don't see these problems going away in the future. It's probably just going to get worse. I mean, when you think about aging infrastructure, and a lot of these municipal governments, they don't have the funding, they don't have the money to go in and replace all this aging infrastructure. Especially something like, you know, water lines or sewer lines or drainage tiles and things like that. I mean, they do what they can on an as needed basis, try to do regular maintenance and that sort of thing. But the fact of the matter is, you know, most of our infrastructure was built 100 years ago,
Right.
or 70 years ago. So I don't know. I think you're going to continue to see problems.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse, especially with these data centers and things like that. But I always say that these water treatment centers have a lot on their plate, you know, and they treat the water for the masses. And that's why it's important to just make sure you take care of what's in your home. But I don't know. I hope that they're not trying to hide anything. I hope that they were just trying to take care of the water, and as a result, there was the chlorine smell and some of the corrosion and different things that were happening. Private city water systems aren't regulated the same as public, so you know you could put anything for reporting in terms of some of those things. Not to say that they are, but it's a little bit different than a public wastewater with the results.
That's a good point. And throughout this entire thing, as we've stressed, we just discuss the topic. We share what information that we have, what research that we have conducted, and not making accusations or allegations against anybody or any entity. It's just when you have some of the statements that are made by the public that kind of run contrary to what the research shows, what the information shows, as far as, I guess, what they're seeing in their water, what they're smelling, what they're tasting, then it kind of raises questions. And when you put it in the context of other water crises, Flint, Michigan,
Right.
as kind of the primary example, the situation was fine until it wasn't.
Right.
So that was the official narrative. And you can't forget about that. And when you're talking about a private company, they're beholden to their shareholders. They're beholden to their bottom line. So, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. You want to get corporations the benefit of the doubt. But a little bit of healthy cynicism never hurt anybody.
Yeah, and could have giving you guys a heads up. This is what's going to happen before instead of afterwards. Because then that way let me run my water. Like, let me see what I can do, or just be aware and run out and get the 5-gallon water. I think that could have been a little bit more helpful. Just telling people this is what's going to happen to their
Right.
water.
And that's what we were seeing. We saw that, there's nothing wrong. It's just smells because of the organic matter that's what smells. And then all of a sudden they're pouring all these chemicals and flushing hydrants all over the place. So it got everybody in a panic. And of course, us as investigative researchers and journalists, we start seeing signs everywhere of other things that have happened in the past and history. And we start digging into it, and we've got statements from the public saying one thing, and then we've got statements coming to us from official means or official sources saying another. It doesn't match what the public's saying, and we start getting very concerned.
Yeah.
Not only that, the admission that they had a strain on their ground well, where they were pulling water from. So then they switched to more water, I guess, coming from the Little Scioto.
Right.
You got all that soil excavation within that highly contaminated stretch of water that's being done and has been being done for the past couple years. I don't know. I mean, to me, if you're saying, "Oh, we're kicking up," now I think they're damming while they're doing some work and other such remediation efforts, I guess. But I don't know. It begs a lot of questions.
I
You
know.
also have in the city of Marion where you're having a lot of drainage issues, a lot of flooding, a lot of sewer line backups and things like that are kind of commonplace in the city. I don't know. And then you put the other question. So Jay's got up here. This is the aquifer systems that cover the area, and you talk about stress on underground resources, water sources, aquifers, and you mentioned data centers. So, are we seeing the huge metropolitan sprawl of Columbus in these data centers, which are now springing up here and there that use an exorbitant amount of water I mean, the average data center. I just attended a meeting where one of the officials from Delco Water was the guest speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that there was one planned data center that needed so many millions of gallons of water, and their consumption was going to be enough to supply 50,000 homes for a year.
Wow.
So what is that doing to our aquifers? And then are we going to continue? We had a drought. I mean, I don't think it rained at my place for almost a
Yeah.
period of 60 days this year, and we had about the same stretch of drought last year. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Lizzy?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think we've got to find other ways if we're going to use these data centers that we can treat the water and we're not wasting nearly as much water. I don't know. But
And then
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and then you look at the EPA, and because these data centers have big bucks and they're undoubtedly making it
It's
rain,
Trump's
and you're going,
America. No.
yeah, and they're talking about pretty much having super lax regulations on these data centers when it
I don't know
comes
what
to,
that's about. I don't really know what that's about.
well,
Feels-
money talks, you know?
Yeah.
So they could invest more money into sustainable systems where
Yes.
they recycle their own water. But now they're talking, oh yeah, go ahead, dump it into our waterways. So then what kind of contaminants, as far as your knowledge, and I don't know how much you've looked into that specific topic because it's kind of a new thing. I mean, it was just like we went to bed one night and the next night it's data centers everywhere. Everybody's talking about data centers. You know, this is just kind of sprung up like to where now it's like the hot topic of economic development and growth and energy consumption. But if they do that and they consume millions and millions of gallons of water and an equal proportion of electricity, and they dump this water after they're running it through to cool these power sources, and they dump it back. What kind of contaminants are we going to be dealing with then? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I know that some of the data center systems use up to, I'm going to throw out about 80% of the water is, I guess, consumed, and the other 20% would go back into the, be drained out and go back in. I know that there's all kinds of problems that can occur, nitrates, phosphates. There's traces of heavy metals that have been found in data centers in the IT world. I believe I read something when I was still living down south about some of this stuff going on. Some of them are very clean, I guess, as far as tech firms go. But then you have, the fact is, if they're all along the same water route, like you said, they're putting a strain on it. And are these people actually making good on their word to keep themselves clean and report correctly? That's a big concern. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they should be treating the water before they release it
Right.
out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what needs to be demanded by the population. Not only, I think, treating the water, but then it needs to be recycled on site. If they have that ability to do it, it just costs more money.
Mm-hmm.
But the alternative, especially if you look at like electricity to power all these centers, again, they're consuming the equivalent of something like 50,000 households. And what's going to happen? You only have a finite amount of electrical production. So we're not going to be generating a equally proportional amount of energy. So there's going to be strains on the grid. There's going to be price increases, because it's supply and demand. So there's got to be some accounting for that, to say you can't raise the cost to the residential consumer by X amount because this data center is using all this energy. Otherwise, then we need to, step back and take a look at our lifestyles and say, do we really need, all these data centers and that sort of thing?
And sustainable practices can be achieved. It is happening overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, there's ways to greatly reduce the footprint in data centers. I don't know why they don't do it, but I do know that there's some pretty innovative stuff being done in places like Japan and overseas. I know some people in the Philippines that travel back and forth between Japan and the Philippines and other nations over there that have told me about all kinds of cool stuff that they're doing to try to reduce the footprint. A lot of people don't like the wind farms or the solar panel farms, but I mean, if it helps the environment stay a little bit cleaner, maybe they need to have their own little solar farms or, alternative power sources.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because this is something that when you're talking about something like data centers or something that's new, some innovation, you have to do long-term studies, and you can't rely on the companies themselves to police themselves and to plan for future environmental impacts or negative consequences of them doing business. Because just like this, you look at this map of the city of Marion and the creosoting facility. Did anybody question things back in the 1930s?
I hope
Was
so.
anybody? Well, it doesn't really sound like it.
Yeah.
It didn't really start, until the 40s, when people were like, "Hey, why are all these cows dying downstream?" And there's not a living creature alive in the little Scioto.
Right. That's highly concerning. Right.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's something to do with them dumping thousands of gallons of creosote oil into the little Scioto River. So we have generations. We have generations that suffer for the decisions that are made by prior generations, and that's why you got to be good stewards of the land, good stewards of your communities, and when you can only do as much for yourself. You can only look out for yourself and your family. And that's kind of where pure H2O of Ohio or a company like that can
we can help
you look out as far as water quality in your household, what you are putting in your body and on the outside of your body.
Yep. We also help out with air too, which we could do a whole other episode on air.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely important too.
Yeah, ingesting, if you can clean up your water, you're going to be in a good place. You're not going to be PFAS free, but ingestion is a great way to start. And it's very impactful, obviously, in the long term of your health and everything. So, and a lot of the standards that like the EPA sets, like those are standards allowing a certain amount of contaminants in your water, so if you want to drink a certain amount of chlorine and you want to drink a certain amount of lead, or no amount of lead is good, but different contaminants are okay in the drinking water. Have you ever been to the EWG website?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Let me send it to you because we can do you. It'll tell you some of the VOCs that are in the water. But that report, I think the last time they updated was about a year ago. But it'll show you that there's these contaminant levels in the water of these different things, but that the standards are okay to allow them in there. I personally don't want any contaminants in my water.
Right.
I don't want to drink chlorine. I really don't. I don't want to drink like it's a swimming pool. Yeah, let's look up Marion in there. If you put in the zip code and we can get Aqua Marion. Okay, and I think if you go down a little, it'll start to.
There we go.
Yeah.
Might be a little hard to see. I'll zoom in on each section for everybody so they can see what's going on.
Chloroform. We got people, putting chloroform in like, in the cartoons and stuff, they'd always put like chloroform.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Pass out. There you go. Wow, what's going on in Marion?
So check this out. Like if you do any zip code anywhere in the EWG, this is what you're gonna find. Like, oh, the standards are this, but no legal limit.
What's bromonochloromethane? 143 times the normal amount.
What is that?
That's like, I think that's probably some sort of like chloramine that they're using to bromodichloramine.
Potential side effect: cancer.
Right.
We have 143% or times greater chance.
Yeah, it's chlorine. It's a type
Yeah.
of chlorine.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. So you don't want to be drinking any of this stuff.
So
Wow.
those whole house filtration systems, this kind of shit can go bye-bye for the most
Yes.
part. Not
Yes.
100%, but mostly.
Mostly. That's why the carbon is amazing. Your carbon filtration in your home, our QRS that we sell, is really, really going to get rid of a ton of shit in your home.
Right.
And then your ultrafine drinking for your reverse osmosis too.
Now, I know we have people commenting on the systems and things in the comments. Do you guys have a financing partner that you work with?
Yeah,
for people
we have
who...
several financing that we use, and people use financing often.
Okay. This is highly concerning. I've never seen this before.
So they can search by any zip code and it'll bring their water suppliers data up.
Uh-huh.
Wow. This is
Yeah,
a
we're
great
gonna
resource.
we're gonna geek out on this, aren't we, Cody? Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is the type of contaminants that I want to get from our resin tech lab test too, so we can get updated numbers as well. But yeah.
And you did send out a test for the Forever Chemicals, as they're called.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll take to get that back? I'm interested to see that.
I don't know. I was trying to reach somebody there this week, and I think they're all out of office, which makes me think I might need to send another sample in. So
413 times. I don't even know what that is.
Haloacidic acids.
Well, it causes cancer.
Right.
That's the thing that jumps out when I look at it. 413 times.
Yeah, it's a disinfection. It's a byproduct, disinfecting byproducts.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. What's the website for this? If you're watching, following along, and you want to play around and investigate each of these, again,
I'll throw it in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, throw it in the comments, Jay, because I think people are going to find this highly useful.
Yeah,
and
I
the
know
other
I'm gonna
thing that
geek
would
out
be
on that.
interesting to do, and something that maybe we will do, is plug in some of the other area communities and compare the results, compare and contrast to see how does Aqua Ohio's water that's supplied to the city of Marion compare with Galleon, Ohio, or Bucyrus, or That would be fascinating to see. And then maybe look in if one is doing better than another, like why? If one's doing much worse, then it may beg more questions to say why, right?
Right. Yeah. I know that some of the smaller communities like Galleon, they deal with their own water systems. And they're constantly sending out various notices. I'll get my hands on one of those so that I can share it with
Yeah, see there, it's down there. It's the carbon filters versus reverse osmosis. The ion exchange is the softener. That's what we'll take out the hardness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great resource. Thank you for
yeah, that's super cool.
sharing that, Lizzy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll. And like you said, once you get your results back, it's going to break down all these different chemicals as well to see where they are at that time. Now,
Mhm.
would it show organic uh, as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Because that's the other thing, if you're trying to kill some bacteria
Right.
or organic compound, well, mainly bacteria, I think, you're going to want to douse it with a chlorine-based treatment, from what I understand. If it's one of these forever chemicals, then it's going to be a charcoal-based treatment most of the time. So, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So if everybody's houses was smelling of um, chlorine, smelled like a pool hall and that sort of thing, um, that makes you think that it was something organic. But geosmin's what they said that it was, and interestingly, that's not treated
Right, with fluorine.
with chlorine; it's treated with charcoal.
Mhm.
So, what was it? And um, and you put in there um, the frequent sewer backups and drainage issues with the city that's constantly dealing with here. Um, was it sewage? Was it something like that? It contaminated it. Who knows? But maybe we'll get some answers here with some of the results once they come into your office, and
Yep.
you can share that with the Watchman's report.
Mhm.
So I think the big question is do you think there's anything concerning that you've seen out of this whole water crisis thing yet?
It's hard for me to know, but it seems to me that something got into the supply and they treated it with a whole bunch of products. So it wouldn't make you sick right away.
It's interesting.
And that's what large water systems do. If there's a contaminant that gets in, and maybe they didn't know what it was right away, and they're saying it's geosim or whatever, but that's sort of how to treat mass water. It's going
So
to be
basically throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at it and hope that it sticks and doesn't break anything else.
to clean it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope that you learned a little bit more about this issue. Again, hopefully we are on the other side of the
Yeah, well,
mountain.
I
You
don't want to
know,
scare anybody. It's just really to educate and let you know
Right.
that we can this is the way to do it. This is the option. If you don't, relying on the city, take care of yourself in your home, make sure that you're doing the right treatment within your home to the best of your ability. And that way you don't have to worry about the water quality changing in the city.
Right. Yeah. I was on well water when I lived down south, and we had a pretty high dollar reverse osmosis system and filtration systems and the whole 9 yards. And when I moved back up north, I could definitely tell the difference. You know what I mean? My water versus my well water that it was properly filtered versus the city water up here was a substantial difference.
Yeah.
In taste and smell, really. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, we thank you for joining us tonight, Lizzy. I
Well,
think
thank
that
you
it's
for
been,
having me. I was a little nervous.
oh no, we're
hey,
laid back.
We don't bite. You
Okay,
know,
no, you
we're
guys are
laid back.
very nice.
Yeah, we're laid back here on the Watchman's Report, but a lot of really good information, good
Yeah, it was.
insight, and I highly encourage people, if you don't want to put your family's welfare, at least when it comes to drinking water, into the hands of some company or some government, then consider uh, doing something about it. Consider looking into water treatment at the household level and contact Pure H2O of Ohio for a consultation, see what
Mhm.
systems will work best for you and your family. If you're not in their service area, now is your service area the whole state of Ohio or?
We're most of Ohio. We don't have the northern region into Cleveland, but I could, if you guys have relatives or family in there, I can send you in the right direction
Right, right.
in the northern part. But yeah, and if anybody has questions, you can call Period Show and ask for me, and I will help. If you whatever you need, we're here. And hopefully we can get through this together.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Lizzy, for joining us. Jay, as always. So we'll go ahead and close here for the evening. If you
Yes.
have any questions, reach out to us, reach out to Lizzy. What's your Facebook? I know we've shared the link and Jay will have it in there, but is it just Pure H2O of Ohio?
Pure H2O of Ohio, yeah.
And then your website again?
Pure H2O healthywater.com.
Okay. So check it out and do what you got to do to take care of yourself, because in the end, that's what it comes down to. Nobody
Yeah.
else is really going to be looking out for you. It's
Mhm.
up to you to be responsible for your own health, your own safety, your own wellness. So get on it. So
Yeah.
again,
Kind to each other and stay educated out there. We
Right.
need to love each other a little bit more and give hugs in these types of situations.
amen. Amen. I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
I'm a
Right.
hugger. I don't know about you two. I'm a hugger. But so
Well,
for
yeah, and
Lizzy
I'll come out
Mazer,
to Marion too sometime, and we can talk water and we can walk around and get some water samples and stuff if you want.
Yeah,
yeah,
Cody knows all the hot spots, that's for sure.
yeah, that would be fascinating. Yeah, let's
Yeah, I'll
do it.
bring out my SL1000 and we'll get
That
some.
sounds geeky.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds impressive.
We'll have fun with it.
All right, folks. Well, for Lizzy Mazer, for Jason Foreman, I'm Cody Higley. This has been the Watchman's Report. And remember, folks, the Watchman is always vigilant. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Yay.